The snowstorm had swallowed the entire town, turning every street into a silent, white maze. Most people rushed home to warmth, but one small figure wandered deeper into the cold. A young girl, barefoot, shivering. Her breath trembled as she whispered into the empty night. "God, I can't do this anymore." She sank onto a frozen bench, convinced this was where her story would end. No footsteps, no voices, only the howling wind. She had been missing for hours. No one knew where she had gone. No one knew she was trapped in the storm alone. Miles away, a police radio crackled. Officer Daniels and his K-9 partner, Shadow, were heading straight into the blizzard, completely unaware that a life was slipping away in the darkness until Shadow suddenly froze. The dog's body stiffened, ears locked forward, every instinct on high alert. Something was out there, human, fragile, and terrifyingly close to disappearing forever. "Shadow, what do you hear?" Daniels asked. The dog didn't respond. He ran. What happened next shocked everyone. Stay with us. This story will leave you stunned. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. Officer Daniels had walked this route 100 times, but tonight felt unusually silent. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. His K-9 partner, Shadow, walked steadily beside him until suddenly the dog halted. Without warning, Shadow's head lifted, nose twitching, eyes fixed on something invisible in the distance. Daniels frowned. Shadow was trained to react only when something was truly wrong. "Shadow, what is it, boy?" he asked softly. The dog didn't move. Then with a sharp pull on the leash, he started dragging Daniels toward the row of snow-covered benches near the trees. His paws moved fast, urgency in every step. Daniels followed, confused, but alert. As they approached, he saw a small shape, curled on a bench. At first it looked like an abandoned coat until a soft, broken cry slipped through the icy air. His heart clenched. It was a child, a little girl, shivering violently, her hair dusted with snow, her tiny shoulders shaking with every breath. "Dear God," Daniels whispered. Shadow reached her first, whining softly, nudging her with gentle urgency. The girl didn't even lift her head. She was fading fast. Daniels knelt beside the little girl, brushing the snow gently from her hair. Her skin was ice cold, her breath short and uneven. When she finally lifted her face, her eyes looked distant, like she was drifting somewhere far away. "It's okay," Daniel said softly. "You're safe now. Can you hear me?" Her lips trembled before a faint whisper escaped. I'm so tired." Shadow pressed closer, his warm breath brushing her arm as he let out a low, comforting whine. The girl's fingers moved weakly, trying to touch the dog, but even that small effort drained her. Daniels recognized the signs immediately. Advanced hypothermia. If she slipped any further, she might not wake again. "What's your name?" he asked gently. The girl swallowed. "Lily. Lily, stay with me, sweetheart. Where are your shoes? Where are your parents?" A tear slid down her cheek, freezing before it even fell. "No one wants me," she whispered. "No one's coming." The words hit Daniels harder than the winter wind. Her voice held no anger, just a deep, quiet acceptance, as if she had already given up. Shadow whimpered again, nudging her hand. It was the dog who refused to let her surrender. Daniels felt the urgency thudding in his chest. The snow was falling faster now, thick flakes swirling around them like a warning from the sky. Lily's breathing had grown slower, her eyelids fluttering as if each blink cost her strength she no longer had. Hypothermia wasn't just stealing her warmth, it was stealing her minutes. "We have to move," Daniels whispered. He scooped her into his arms, startled by how weightless she felt, like lifting a bundle of frozen feathers. Her head fell against his shoulder, a weak shiver running through her tiny frame. Shadow circled them, anxiously, barking once sharp, demanding, as if urging Daniels to hurry. "I know, buddy. I know," Daniel said, tightening his grip. He started toward the patrol car, fighting against the wind that bit at his face. Every step felt like pushing through a wall of ice. Lily's fingers twitched against his coat, then went still. "Stay with me, Lily," he pleaded, his breath trembling. Shadow stayed glued to his side, bumping Lily gently with his nose whenever she grew too still, refusing to let her slip away. The storm roared louder, but Daniels moved faster, because this wasn't just a rescue anymore, it was a race to save a life hanging by a thread. Inside the warm patrol car, Daniels wrapped a thermal blanket around Lily, but her shivering didn't stop. Her lips were pale, her voice barely above a breath. Still, she tried to speak like a child, finally too tired to hold her pain alone. Daniels leaned closer. "Lily, can you tell me what happened? How did you end up out there?" Her eyes blinked slowly, unfocused at first, then filled with something deeper. Then the cold hurt. "I didn't run far," she whispered. "Just far enough." Daniels felt Shadow crawl onto the seat beside her, pressing his warm body against her side. The girl's frozen fingers curled weakly into the dog's fur. "Did someone hurt you?" Daniels asked gently. She shook her head, but the truth in her voice trembled. "I heard them talking, saying I was too much trouble, that they wished I'd never come." Daniels froze. "They're not bad," Lily added quickly, voice cracking. "They're just tired. I try to be good. I really try, but I always mess up." Her eyes filled again, tears turning to tiny crystals on her lashes. "So I thought," she whispered, "if I disappeared, maybe everyone would be happier." Shadow suddenly pushed his head under her hand as if refusing to let her believe that. Daniels swallowed hard. Her wounds weren't from the cold. They were from a world that had forgotten how to love her. As the patrol car sped toward the hospital, Daniels kept glancing into the rear-view mirror. Lily's eyes fluttered open and closed, each time staying shut a little longer. The cold had seeped into her bones, and her tiny body was fighting to hold on. Daniels knew they were running out of time. Shadow, however, refused to leave her side. The big German shepherd climbed onto the seat fully now, curling himself around her like a living shield against the cold. His warm breath brushed her cheek, his chest rising and falling steadily, a rhythm her fading body could anchor to. Lily stirred her fingers brushing his fur. "He's warm," she whispered weakly. "He's here for you," Daniels replied softly. "We both are." For the first time something flickered in her eyes. Not fear, not exhaustion, but a fragile spark of hope. Shadow nudged her again, licking her frozen hand. Lily's lips trembled, forming a faint smile. "I thought no one would come," she whispered. Daniels met her gaze in the mirror. "Lily, listen to me. Tonight you were never alone." She closed her eyes, not in surrender, but in trust. And in that moment the miracle had already begun. The moment Daniels burst through the hospital doors, carrying Lily, nurses rushed toward him. Her skin was ghostly pale, her lips nearly blue. "Severe hypothermia," one nurse called out. "Get her into warming protocol now." Shadow barked anxiously as the medical team wheeled her away, his paws scraping against the floor as if he was trying to follow. Daniels knelt, placing a steadying hand on the dog's collar. "She's in good hands, boy. Let them work." Minutes dragged into hours. Daniel sat in the hallway, Shadow resting his head on the officer's knee, both waiting in heavy silence. The storm outside raged on, but inside hope flickered faintly. Finally, a doctor approached, removing his frost-covered coat. "You found her." "Just in time," he said, exhaustion softening his voice. 5 more minutes outside and she wouldn't have survived. Daniels exhaled shakily. "She keeps asking for the dog," the doctor added with a small smile. "He gave her warmth before we could." When Daniels and Shadow entered her room, Lily looked up from the blankets, eyes brighter than before. Shadow trotted straight to her bedside. "You came back," she whispered, and for the first time that night it sounded like a beginning, not an ending. Over the next few days, Lily's strength slowly returned. The hospital room that first echoed with fear now felt warmer, filled with gentle smiles, soft blankets, and the constant presence of Shadow curled at her feet. Daniels visited every morning before his shift, and every night afterward, bringing small treats, stories, and reassurance she never knew she needed. One evening, as snow tapped quietly against the window, Daniel sat beside her bed. "Lily," he began gently, "the social workers are looking into your situation, but I want you to know something." He hesitated, choosing each word carefully. "You don't ever have to feel unwanted again." Lily looked up, confused. "What do you mean?" Daniels took a slow breath. "I've started the paperwork to foster you, maybe even adopt you if you'd want that someday." Her eyes widened, filling with tears, not from pain but from something softer, something healing. Shadow lifted his head, placing a paw on her blanket, as if sealing the promise. Lily reached for Daniel's hand, her voice trembling. "God didn't take me," she whispered. "He sent you both." Daniels felt his throat tighten as Shadow nudged her gently. And in that quiet hospital room, a broken life finally began to mend.